Hey guys, welcome back to the MJ Gooner podcast right here for the post-match review. Arsenal 0, Brighton 3. I'm going to cut to the chase here. What I want to do with this podcast is pretty much trying to shorten the the minutes of the podcast. I know it could be a very long one as well, and pretty much I thought about this last week. I just felt like I don't really have all the things I need in order to complete a 45 minute podcast. I think the longest I've done is probably 50. But other than that, I think my average minute for the podcast is 35, 40 minutes, something like that. Again, I still feel like, this is more of a personal podcast thing about Arsenal, so I don't really want to, spend an extensive amount of time on it. It's pretty much about, just stating the facts, talking about the game just a little bit. I don't want to, kind of go into minute by minute, play by play, that kind of stuff. What I'm trying to aim for in this podcast is 20 to 25 minutes. I think that's a very good length for a podcast like this. Again, no matter how much I really do want my podcast to be an hour and a half, I don't know, the majority of the listener for you guys. You guys might be listening to this podcast when you guys are doing something else, studying, stuff like that, or maybe in the car. You just want to listen to something else other than just music, and you want to put this podcast on. I know there are quite a lot of podcasts out there, Arsenal podcasts, which could be an hour long. But for me, I just think, when I'm doing this by myself, it's really tough, to be honest. Just really tough to have a conversation, have an extensive conversation about Arsenal when everything, all the thoughts, all the ideas I'm talking about in this kind of video or podcast, it's just mainly for myself. It's not that I'm having a guest right next to me and have a lengthy discussion about it. So what I'm trying to do is right here, I'm trying not to elongate the whole podcast. Instead, kind of cut to the chase. Just put everything out there. Hopefully, we can wrap everything up within 25 minutes. That's what I really want for the podcast. And I know I post this on YouTube, Spotify, Acast as well. And I know a very long podcast. You guys might not be listening it or might not be interested in it, but 25 minutes would be enough. So let's start about this game. Talk about this game. I mean, this game, it's honestly really, really bad. Probably the worst home. Probably one of the worst home game I've seen in my life, actually. Especially the second half. Second half was purely, diabolical, shameless performance. Just horrible performance in general. But honestly, I am not as, disappointed as before. I talked about this a few games ago where, the game we drew against West Ham was pretty much the fact the game against Southampton, actually, not West Ham, where I felt like that is the game where everything just kind of goes downhill. And I just kind of lost hope in a way. I mean, no matter how much this Arsenal team has given us hope throughout the whole season, but when we need to perform during a crucial moment, we didn't deliver, and that hope, that hope just kind of diminish minutes by minutes, hours by hours, and the game against Southampton pretty much gave me the expectation that we are 100% not going to win the league, despite mathematically we're still in the race. Even right now we're mathematically still in the race, but realistically you do not expect City to drop points for the last 3 games. And it was just a shame, to be honest. I think throughout the whole season we have been amazing. At one point we were 10 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, something like that throughout the first half of the campaign before the World Cup. We have been amazing, 5 points clear. Going to the World Cup, at one point we were 8 points clear, and right now we are 4 points behind City. And City still have 3 games to go, and they have they have a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid at home on Tuesday. That is going to be a big one. I'm sure they want to win. They want to win every game for the remainder of the season. So if they're going to win the league, to be honest, if they're going to win the league this year, just win the Champions League. Just show you guys are the best, and we just couldn't beat the best team in the world. That's about it. Also pissing some of the United fans as well. But this game, again, against Brighton, Brighton's a very good side. I have a very soft heart towards them, actually, because first of all, my career mode, again, I'm still going to finish that. Don't worry about it. I still want to finish that until the next new game comes out, the EA Sport FC kind of thing. I'll still finish the career mode no matter what. But again, I have a soft heart for Brighton. They gifted us Ben White and also Trossard for the past few years, and we have to forever thankful for them, because those players certainly changed the way how we play, and also changed the way how people see us, and also changed the way how we put on the result. And Brighton, again, like I said, I think they're a very good team, to be honest. Nobody was expecting them to be in the European spot this season, and they might potentially getting a European spot. Again, top 4 right now for them looks slightly diminished right now. I don't think they will have enough points to get it, but even a spot in Europa or even Conference League, shows, the tremendous amount of improvement that they have over the last, 4 or 5 years since they have been up in the Premier League. And they're a very good side. I saw them played, even the whole game. Not the whole season. I didn't watch the whole season, but certainly the way how they play was just beautiful. I mean, today, the way how they play was just phenomenal. And, if I'm a Brighton fan, I would be very manifested in this team emotionally. But as an Arsenal fan, it's just really tough to see how Arsenal were, performing against Brighton. Brighton simply were way better than Arsenal. And I just gotta put my hands down and just congrats to them. Kudos to them. They have come a long way. And last week they lost to Everton 5-1 at home. And De Zerbi said something like, next week, this game, everybody's gonna see the real Brighton. And today we saw the real Brighton. You gotta give all the credits to De Zerbi, to the team as well. And honestly, I really do hope that, Brighton claim a European spot by the end of this season. So moving on to the, to the pre-match review, even though it's not quite of a pre-match review anymore. But the big one is certainly David Ornstein saying Saliba, Zinchenko are out of the season, but thankfully they do not require surgery. Big blow. Like I said, we have been, we've been trying to spot a flaw within our club, within our system, but turns out defensively, without Saliba, I think that was the turning point of our season. Again, I know injury is going to cost us, but the fact that losing both Saliba and Tomiyasu, I think that was a double dagger to the throat. And it was just very unlucky, to be honest. And we just gotta adapt without Saliba. We put Holding for 6 games, winning 2 games, but losing the rest of the 4. Not losing, but dropping points for the rest of the 4. Putting on Kivior, and Kivior has been decent since coming on. And right now, Zinchenko is out. Again, I've been very critical towards Zinchenko in terms of defensively. And certainly after this game, I found like, in a game like this, we do need Zinchenko, but it really depends on circumstances how you want him to play. I think in a way you would want to start him as a starting 11 for Zinchenko to kind of get that, a grasp of control in the middle, which we have been doing very well for the first half, or even, the whole season. The first half we tend to do quite well, having that extra control in the middle, trying to utilize both Jesus, Saka, and also Martinelli with the speed, chemistry, and everything. When you have Zinchenko in the middle, you can actually exploit opposition defensive line with his passing and stuff like that. But right now, today's game shows why we need Zinchenko in a game like this. Simply, we do not have control in the first half, and we only have a few chances. Of course, the first chance was coming up from Trossard hitting the crossbar. It was a very good chance as well. I think it was a slight touch of a block. I don't know by who, but certainly it was a very good block in the end to deflect off his foot to hit the crossbar. Jesus had a chance again, a very tight angle to take a shot, but still made a good save, and Saka putting the ball out wide, but it was a very close attempt as well. But those three chances, we missed it. We can't go back and have a lengthy discussion about those chances, but certainly was if we somehow buries one chance right there, we would have changed the outcome of the game. Not saying that we're 100% gonna win, but certainly not going to be watching this horrible performance. But the first half was pretty much where I felt like we have no control. With no control, we've been pretty much got taunted by, the defense. The passing is very intimidating. They found a lot of ways to open up the defense for Arsenal at points where I felt like it's so it's so spacious at one point between Kivior or defensive line and also the midfield line. And it was tough to play, to be honest. And at first, Mitoma was playing on the right, and suddenly he switched himself to the left-hand side. And right now, there's the real conversation between Ben White against Mitoma. But Mitoma today, again, he won the conversation. Brilliant footballer. Certainly, he did write a thesis about dribbling right before the game, especially towards the Arsenal backline. But certainly, I can say Mitoma cooked Ben White in this game. I think Ben White was just out of gas. I don't think he had a very good game today, Ben White. But when you compare, Wan-Bissaka, I think Wan-Bissaka has been amazing this season for United. But certainly, I think Wan-Bissaka dealt with Mitoma way better than how Ben White did throughout the whole game. The first half was pretty much, that was about it. Again, we didn't really have control. Certainly, we have been exploited here and there, on the left. Especially on the left, actually. Not on the right, but I think on the left-hand side, nothing much going on. Tierney doing his job right, but again, you don't quite want to use him as a Zinchenko role. There's one chance actually from Mitoma on the left-hand side. It was a good cross. It was an empty goal. And Cisco hits that one over the bar. It was a terrible miss, but that was kind of the first warning sign of Arsenal. And of course, let's talk about the refereeing. I forgot who was the referee, but certainly it was poor. I mean, there was a challenge earlier on from, I believe, Martinelli on Mitoma earlier on in the first 5 minutes. I think that should have been a yellow card for Martinelli. I think that was still a very dangerous one, even though he didn't put his elbow out. But I think, from that distance, when you are going for the ball, you need a little bit of a, run up to it, and you just kind of, it's quite dangerous, to be honest. I just thought that Martinelli should have been a card, but the one from Caicedo to Martinelli, that one looks very dangerous. The fact that no card was given, it was a clear foul, but the referee, again, not just poor performance in the first half, I think. And at one point, I just kind of given up on whatever the referee was deciding or was thinking, or his decision making. It was just poor in general, because I think that should have been a yellow card. It was just unfortunate where Martinelli cannot carry on. And I saw this clip somewhere on Twitter. I think one of the guys is having a conversation with Gary O'Neill. Let's say Gary O'Neill or something. I think the head of physio. Apparently, Martinelli is fine. He'll be playing for the next game. It was just kind of a precautionary substitution, but Zinchenko seems to be out of the season with his calf, and Saliba out of the season with the lumbar disc injury. But first half was about that. Second half, not a very ideal way to start. It was a schoolboy defending from Arsenal. Kivior has been amazing over the past 2 games, but the one that we conceded the first half was completely uncalled for from Kivior. I know there's contact. I know Ferguson stepped on Kivior, but again, I mean, the ball's still in play, right? I mean, unless if you want to go down, you got to go down in a full-fashion way, not just kind of a half-assed kind of a show. But Kivior just kind of kneeling down. His foot was completely off. You could have called it a foul on Kivior, but the fact that the whole sequence of play was very horrible. Tierney clears it back within the box, and another cross, and just missed everybody. And that was the and Cisco score a very easy headed goal. But Kivior should have done better again. To be in a title race like this, we just can't afford to make mistake like that. That was a schoolboy defending, and that was a slight chance where, Brighton had, and they took it. They took a 1-0 lead, and everything just kind of started to fall apart. We just have no control, and I felt like both teams we just kind of not getting into the rhythm of the game. I think that was a problem. We just don't really have the spirit to continue the game at all. It was very frustrating to watch. And then later on, Xhaka coming off, Jorginho coming off as well, Partey coming on, and even Partey's cameo today was horrible. I don't think he was any good today. Not as good, before the Liverpool game. And honestly, Reiss Nelson was the only player where I thought he looks very bright. He came on, I think within 5 minutes he had a chance, just power shot that one. Unfortunately, it was just went out wide just for a few inches, but that was the point where I thought, wow, like Reiss Nelson looks very good. But other than that, it was just horrible. Jesus, again, we did a lot of necessary stuff. He dribbled past, Luis Dunk, and all of a sudden just kind of went out of room. The ball just kind of falls back into Reiss Nelson out of nowhere. Jesus just kind of stuck his foot out, a dangerous tackle. I wouldn't necessarily say a dangerous tackle, but a very childish, unnecessary tackle on Billy Gilmore. And yeah, that's pretty much sums up the game. And later on, you have Smith Rowe coming on and Nketiah coming on. I felt like in a game like this, you might be potentially putting Fabio Vieira on, but honestly, right now, I mean, I haven't seen Fabio Vieira for the past few games, which means I don't think he is likely to be featured in the Arsenal squad again this season, which is a shame. But Jesus lost his plot. Odegaard lost his plot as well, just couldn't really get into the game, and there's nothing bright about this game at all. And later on, second goal, it was just very sloppy from Arsenal. Ramsdale to Trossard, a flick somehow landed right in front of Undav and chips it over the goalkeeper, loops it over the goalkeeper, 2-0. And in the last 2 minutes, it was a shot from, I believe, I think it was from Welbeck or Undav, and Estupinian on the left-hand side just taps that one in. 3-0. And that's the game right there. Again, I don't mind losing, but the fact that not showing any kinds of fight is something that I don't really like to enjoy. For example, the game against City at home, the January 1st one where we lost 2-1 at home. That was a game where I truly enjoyed. We lost the game, but at least we showed some sort of a fight in that game, and I'm okay with that. But this game against Brighton was simply a symbolic performance from Arsenal, and right now we're just kind of causing this kind of a pain, causing this kind of a regret upon us, and we just have to live with that, unfortunately, because again, it's just tough. I mean, like, what are you supposed to do at this point, right? I mean, we just need to win this game. We won the last 2 games. It felt like momentum's coming back. The game against Newcastle showing some sort of redemption arc, coming back, trying to finish the season strong, despite we might not be winning the league. I'm okay. Actually, I'm okay not winning the league when we actually, showing some sort of a fight, winning the last 3 games, and if we lost, we lost the title because of that. We did our job, finished the last 5 games of the season with a win, and we still lose the title. That's fine. We got 90 points, and to beat City, if they somehow remaining to win all their with the games, 94 points, and this is the standard that we are putting up against too. We have to have 95 points to win, and if City, do that 94 points to win, then you're expecting Arsenal to reach 95 points. When a lot of people saying this, I do agree. I felt like, yeah, I know I'm an honest Arsenal fan, but I think using the word, bottling the league is a little bit way too harsh, because to be honest, nobody thought we would be at one point being in the title race for a very long time, and we just slipped up in the end. And again, when you look at the context and narrative of of our squad, we were the team where we were going to just barely make it to the top 4, but right now we're cruising into the season. Right now, second place is secured, mathematically secure, and also getting the qualification for the Champions League. Nobody was expecting that. The fact that we were, dominating the campaign, we were doing very well with our young squad. Nobody was expecting that, and in the end, we got a second place. Champions League qualification was certainly the definition of overachieving this season, and I'm happy with this season, to be honest. Regardless of how the season ends, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for this season. Again, this is certainly one of those seasons where I think is very memorable to me, simply because I get to watch all the games this season except the Brighton in the EFL Cup and also Chelsea at home. That's the only 2 games that I miss. And honestly, despite having some sort of a cold spell in between games, I felt like this season has been amazing. And right now, we lost to Brighton. Of course, not the greatest way to sign off this season, or on the way to sign off this season. And we have 2 more games to go, going to Nottingham Forest away. Again, it's going to be a tough one when they're fighting for the relegation battle. We lost to Nottingham Forest last season in the FA Cup. So again, it's going to be a tough battle. And the last game against Wolves, hopefully, by then we somehow gonna win the last 2 games. I really do hope so. But honestly, I really doubt we're gonna see that. But if we, apparently, mathematically, if we win the game against Nottingham Forest and City lose, we still have, mathematically, we're still in the race, but we need Man City to lose 3 games, which is, I highly doubt that. But I think by next week, if we lose the game against, if we lose the game or if we draw the game. Actually, no, I think if we lose the game, not drawing the game, but if we lose the game against Forest, then City will be crowned as a champion before the game even being kicked off against Chelsea. But if we beat Forest and Chelsea, and City has to beat Chelsea. But I think they need 1 win to win. I think even if City drew against Chelsea, I think we still have a chance. But honestly, right now, I'm trying not to give myself a lot of hope. But that's the reality of it, unfortunately. Again, I'm not particularly too disappointed with this game because I already knew, we're not going to win the title since the game against West Ham or Southampton. It was just a little bit surprised where we kind of, we beat Chelsea quite easily and then beating Newcastle away, and I thought we might have a chance, but right now it's just the chance is gone, and and it's fine for Arsenal fans. I just want to tell you guys that it's okay that this season is not ours, because technically we need 95 points to win the league, and how are we supposed to compete ourselves against Man City? And I know a lot of Arsenal fans out there quite delusional, quite optimistic about our title chance for this year. Even myself thought about, we might potentially going to win the league, but every time when I say it, it's not very convincing, because it's just really, really tough, to be honest, to win the league when you play against a game like City, and without injuries as well. We still have a very young squad, and certainly after this game, actually, speaking of this game, I realized we haven't beaten Brighton at home for the last 4 or 5 games, or 4 or 5 seasons. So that says it all about Brighton. And yeah, but yeah, nobody was expecting us to be in the position that we're in. And certainly a lot of you guys are calling us ballers. It's fine, to be honest. It's okay. I mean, I accepted it, but I just think the word ballers were a little bit too harsh on that, to be honest. But anyway, next game against Nottingham Forest, hopefully we are going to win the game, and probably by next time when I speak to you all, City might be crowned as the champion and is the semi-finalist. Actually, no, the finalist in the Champions League. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Be sure to like this video podcast, share this podcast to all your Arsenal fans, and I'll see you guys in a bit.